Hi and welcome.
My name is Peter.
My name is Flor and we are the founders of the Radiant Couple courses.
We are talking today about the love languages.
And it's a very fascinating subject.
Yeah.
So, I remember I used to get quite frustrated and sometimes also quite confused when sometimes we had these conversations with Peter, very important conversations, and we would be sitting together and I would be talking and he would be watching me quite intensively with a lot of focus. And I didn't understand, but after I realized the reason why I was so frustrated when he did that is actually what I really wanted was for him to touch me. Not just to look at me with intense focus, but to hold my shoulder while I talked or hold my hands. And no, he just sat there and he watched me.
And I believed I was giving her so much love with my full attention. And I remember when we used to have this deep conversation and Flo used to touch me all the time on my knee or my hand. And I felt actually quite frustrated because all I wanted was for her to actually listen to me, to pay attention to what I was saying.
And I thought I was paying attention because I was touching him. So this is just an example of different love languages.
So my way of communicating to give and receive love is through full attention.
And mine is through touch. So you can imagine the confusion after that. When we are sitting together, talking and needing to be loved as well and to be heard, then I would maybe be touching Pieter to tell him how much I love him, and he's receiving exactly the opposite message. Because he's thinking, she's touching me, she's obviously not listening to me with full attention, therefore she doesn't love me.
And I was believing I was giving her full love by focusing on her fully with attention, but actually she felt that I was being quite withdrawn and not actually nourishing her and giving her love.
So we are communicating with different love languages, and it is really like having a completely different language sometimes.
Yeah, when we start a relationship, it's riding on a high. So we have a tendency to communicate in various different love languages, but then the relationship settles and we have a tendency to settle into our own love language. So if you're not aware of the different love languages, it can create a lot of misunderstanding and frustration in the relationship.
Because we are actually giving love, giving and giving and giving, but because it's not in the right language, the other person is not understanding it as love.
Yeah.
And now that we've worked on it for quite a few years together, we can really see the difference. I've learned to recognize when Pieter is giving me full attention, he is actually loving me a lot. And I've also learned to make an effort. So when Pieter needs it and needs to be heard, I will stop everything I'm doing and give him full attention.
And I really feel this love and I appreciate it. And I've learned to touch Flo much more, but also to receive her touch as a sign of love. And she's actually giving me love. So there are different love languages and actually love dialects. The 5 main ones we're going to talk about.
So you have touch, which is obviously, like I said, my main one. And touch is a physical expression of love. And it's not necessarily sexual love, because sexual touch is really something that you do as a couple anyway, that everybody does. The love language of touch is outside of the sexual relationship. You are still touching, and you can be hugging and, cuddling and knoosing around like this and being cozy. It can also come up as more of a presence of touch. So, for example, I really love it if we're walking down the street and Pieter holds my hand. Or if we're in a situation with lots of other people and he's talking to someone else and he's still holding me or rubbing me or something like this, then it makes me feel really loved.
Yeah. And another love language is attention. This is my primary love language. So you give love like this by being fully aware and fully focused on a particular individual. But it can also be with a quality moment or quality time. So for example, I love to hike in the forest, so being in the forest, and Flo doesn't like it that much. But so when we go to the forest together, I really feel loved and I really appreciate it.
Another way of showing love is through words. So of course it's words like I love you, but even more than that, it can be words of affirmation, it can be compliments, it can be words of appreciation and kind words. So for example, recognizing when your lover is doing something that you really appreciate. Thank you for doing this. I love when you're doing this and when you're doing that.
Yeah, and another love language is gifts. So we can give roses, chocolate, sweets, whatever. There are different nuances in this language and different dialects, and actually it depends on culture quite a bit.
Yeah.
Some people really like if somebody makes the gift and gives them. Some people just like a lot of small gifts, but often. And some people just like big gifts. It just varies.
And then you have the love language of service, where you are doing something for someone else. You're almost like taking a burden away. So you may be doing the washing up,
Yeah.
or you're cooking for the other one if you know that he's going to work and you want him to eat well, or you're opening doors, carrying bags. I love it. When Pietro opens the car door for me, that really does it.
I try to do it often.
So we have a tendency to connect to one language more than the other one. Sometimes even two languages behind that are quite close. And there's always one or even two languages that we don't connect to very well. And of course, ideally you use all five languages, but there will always be this one or even two languages that touch your heart really deeply.
So knowing the love languages, both for you and your lover or loved one, can make a huge difference in the relationship. It's practical, it's fast to implement, it's very easy to implement, and it can increase the love in the couple relationship tremendously.
I mean, it really made a huge difference for us, and we didn't even have to put that much attention or focus or touch on it. So if you want to know more about this and you want to find out a little more about how it works, then just come and join us. Join our lectures or workshops or even long courses.
Yeah, so we're based in South Sweden, but we go all over Europe. So just check us out, check us on Facebook. We are onto the page Radiant Couple. Email us.
Just keep in touch, and we hope that we see you soon.